Everyone, welcome back to another Be Mandy Things tutorial. I'm your resident bag maker host, Amanda. Today we are working on some handles because I bought this webbing years ago on Amazon when I didn't quite know what I know now. And as you can see, it's pretty flimsy. I don't like it. I prefer a much sturdier handle. Today, I don't want this to go to waste. So I'm going to attach some fabric to it, and it's going to create a very nice style handle for a bag, but also it's going to give it that structure and stability that I want it to have instead of it just being super flimsy. So this tutorial is really quick. All you're going to need is some webbing. This is a cotton polyester blend and it is 1 inch thick. This will work with any size webbing that you have. You will just have to make accommodations for the size. The supplies you're going to need are listed down in the description box below, but you will need your webbing. You will need some Pellon 809, also known as Decor-Bond. It's a non-woven fusible that is made of polyester and rayon. And this really is kind of like paper, is the only way to describe it. Especially once it's adhered to fabric, it really becomes kind of papery. I'm not a huge fan of using this on bags, but I love it for this kind of a project. You can see that there's a shiny side, and on the back it's not shiny, it's just a fabric. So the shiny side is the glue side, so that's the side that's going to get adhered to the wrong side of your fabric. You could use a woven fusible as well, something that's light and isn't going to be fluffy. So fusible fleece, Thermolam foam, those I don't recommend for this project. You could definitely do it, but I personally just don't like the style of it. So I choose to use something that's thin as far as the interfacing. You will need fabric, and the fabric should be the same length as the webbing length so that it covers the entire stretch of the webbing that you're going to attach it to. You'll also need some kind of a cutting mat or a place to cut your fabric. You'll need a rotary cutter or scissors and some kind of a ruler to cut everything. You will also need your iron, and I use bag clips for keeping everything in place. For today's tutorial, I'm just showing you kind of on a very small scale how to do this. You will need to cut your webbing to the length of the straps required for your project, and the same will be for your fabric. The idea is to attach the fabric to the webbing and have a little bit of the webbing showing on either side. So while we are cutting the fabric the same size as the webbing, when the project is completed, that fabric is going to be smaller so that the webbing sticks out on either side. So we need 1 inch of our fabric, and then we're going to cut 1/2 inch of our Pellon 809 or whatever interfacing you chose to use. So I'm going to cut the fabric first. Remember, we're cutting the fabric at 1 inch because we're going to fold it over the interfacing. You'll see what I mean. So here's my 1 inch. So there's 1 inch fabric. And here is the interfacing. Remember, it's only going to be 1/2 inch. I know, 1/2 inch. What? What do you mean? Why? You'll see. So this is going to be the length of my strap because this is what I had for my scrap piece. So I'm going to just cut my webbing to measure that size. Again, you are creating this based on the length of what your straps need to be. But for this purpose, I'm just using what I have so I can show you how to do this. So now we are going to take your fabric. This is where you'll need your iron. I like to use a wool mat. Before we adhere the interfacing to the fabric, we need to just figure out where the middle of this fabric piece is. So if you want to get real technical, we know this is a 1 inch piece, and so I can take my ruler and a marking pen, And this is one of those heat erasable pens. And I know half of 1 inch is half an inch. Look at me, I'm so smart. And so I'm going to make a 1/2 inch mark all along that fabric piece. So here's the fabric with the line to mark the center. And now we're going to take the interfacing. And if you are using Pellon 809, like I said, there is a shiny side. You should be able to see that's the shiny side, and a non-shiny side. It just kind of feels like fabric. We want the shiny side facing up, and we want the non-shiny side touching the wrong side of the fabric. And it should be placed in the center of the fabric, right over the line. So this can just be eyeballed. If you want to get real technical and try and figure it out, just use a ruler. But the idea is we're going to fold this edge of fabric so it touches the glue side of the interfacing. So you'll need to be a little careful in doing this not to get glue all over your iron. And so once you start folding that over, because it is glue, it's just going to stick to it, and then you don't have to worry about it. So here, okay, so I went ahead and did this whole side off camera because I couldn't see. You're just going to do the same thing to the other side. You're going to fold over the fabric and get it to touch that glue on the interfacing, and see how it's just holding it in place. You don't have to worry about it flopping around. So I'm going to finish this side. So here it is, completely adhered to the interfacing, and this is what it looks like turned over. So now your raw edges are completely enclosed and you won't see them. This is where the magic is going to happen. This is the fun part. So take the webbing. My particular webbing doesn't have a right side, so it doesn't really matter. But if yours has a right side, you will want the right side facing up. Then take your fabric that you just folded over. And again, I am just eyeballing this. It may move, it may shift. No one's really going to be coming with a ruler to say, oh, nope, you didn't get that exactly in the middle, so don't fret about it. It's not a big deal. So do your best to eyeball it through the center. And then I'm using clips to keep everything in place because I don't want it shifting while I'm sewing. So go ahead and clip everything in place. At my sewing machine, I have it set to a 3.5 millimeter top stitch length. I have coordinating thread in my needle, and my bobbin is a thread that coordinates with the webbing. I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from the fabric edge. You can backstitch if you like. Now as I go, these clips are going to start getting in my way. So I just pause and remove them and then keep going. I have my machine set so that my needle and presser foot constantly stay down as I'm doing this, so that I don't have to worry about losing any positioning. Stop and take off a clip and keep going. This one's in my way, I need it out of the way. As I am sewing this, I'm just watching to make sure that everything is kind of staying in the place that I want it to. Nothing's drifting too far off. Again, it is handmade. It is something fun. And nobody's coming for you with a ruler to say, oh, you were 1/4 of an inch off here. Don't worry about it. Life's too short. When I reach the end, I just sew off and then backstitch. And then I'm just going to cut my thread, turn it around, and do the exact same thing to the other side. But you can see I've got a nice top stitch, and it blends in really well with the fabric. So you really, I mean, of course you can see it, but it's not sticking out like a sore thumb. And I'll just do the other side. Again, back stitch if you want. This side goes a little faster because everything's kind of already in place. And then I'm going to sew off again, but I'll back stitch. And now you have a cute little strap. So now the fabric is completely sewn to the webbing. And you can see, because I used a thread that's the same color, the stitches, you can see them, but they don't really stick out. You could always use a different color thread and make that pop. That's a design choice. I know many of you are worried about your stitches being straight and not wonky, but live a little, try it, see how you like it. So now, because this is going to show, but it's not going to be obvious that I have stitched something on there. You can see the stitch lines, of course, but the thread color goes right into the webbing, so it's really not noticeable. And that is how you can create a little bit of an upscale to your webbing, give it a little bit more of a weight, and I hope you try this. It's fun. Here's a picture of a bag that I did this to a couple years ago. Not my pattern, but I did the handles this particular way. And if you enjoyed this tutorial or you've had a great time and you want to stick around, please subscribe and make sure that you like this video and leave me a comment. Tell me, what would you like me to make next, or what did you enjoy about learning this new fancy way of making handles for your bag? And I love hearing from you and what you would like to learn from me, so please let me know. That's it for today's lesson. I hope you'll join me again soon. Happy sewing. That's it.